Our presenter tonight is a senior partner at the Pros Elite Group, highly respected document industry service training and benchmarking organization. He has more than 38 years in the business equipment industry, including president of several icon global imaging systems companies, along with his time as vice president of service operations of the largest independent dealer our industry has ever known, A-Copy, with over 25,000 customers and 250 technicians. He and his team have written the rules, or benchmarks, if you will, that the highly successful dealers in our industry follow, which is why we're proud to have him with us here today. Please welcome, from the Pros Elite Group, Mr. Stephen Rula.
Good evening. As Craig mentioned, I've been in the office products industry for 38 years, and he mentioned that over my 38 years I've held such positions as the president of the Xerox companies in Washington, D.C. I was the president of the Icon companies in New York City, the largest Icon entity that existed. Prior to that, I was the president of a company in Rochester, and prior to that, I was the vice president of service for the largest independent servicing organization in the United States. Prior to that, I actually sold copiers, and prior to that, I actually fixed copiers. Along the way, I watched our industry change over the past 38 years, and over the past 38 years, it hasn't necessarily changed all that well for you folks. I watched acquisition companies begin in the 1980s to take independent dealers and to consolidate them under the moniker of better support, better flexibility, better financial stability that you, the customer, would reap the benefit from. And unfortunately, one small thing didn't occur along the way, and that was our suppliers didn't think that was a really good idea at all and didn't like for a minute the concept that we were becoming very large organizations under this consolidation process, and therefore didn't come to the table with what we hoped would be the first part of the puzzle, which was better pricing and better objective pricing for us to bring to you to enable us to make what we needed to make to grow those organizations. So we took the next option, which was to turn those companies public. And along the way, companies like Danka Office Solutions and Icon Office Solutions, Global Imaging Systems, went from being privately held entities to publicly held entities. And along the way, you were the ones who were getting beat up by that. At the end of that whole consolidation effort, I started to watch organizations like Icon, like Danka, like Xerox, take their dispatch organizations that were responding locally to you, the customer, and move them to locations like Worcester, Massachusetts, or Macon, Georgia, or Nashville, Tennessee. And suddenly those things that I talked to you about when I was a company president, that responsiveness that I hoped you'd see from me and my organization, was taken out of our hands and moved to other locations, and suddenly that servicing equation that I was so proud of was completely diluted. So diluted that by January of 2009, as I looked at the industry and I looked at my position, I had become thoroughly disgusted with how the office products industry was marketing itself to you, the end user. You, the end user, unquestionably have been battered by companies like Icon, by companies like Xerox, by companies like Global Imaging Systems. You've taken the beating for their earnings call. And when I walked away from that industry, I was completely convinced that that was the end of my career. That after 38 years, I was done. Right now, what customers don't understand, but yet they feel, they just don't understand why they feel the pain, is that this industry has collapsed upon them, and they prey upon customers today. These large mega organizations, whether they be manufacturer direct organizations, or whether they be the Xeroxes or the Icons of the world, have started to go after the customer in the worst of all ways, and the customer just has to sit there and take it. And that's what's happening in our industry today. In our industry today, you see the same 3 or 4 names. You see the Xerox name, you see the Icon name, you may see a manufacturer direct name, and you say, well, I don't particularly love any of them, but they're names I know. So you acquiesce and you choose to go with those people. Coming back to our organization, I said to my 2 partners, if I were to do this, I'd pick 100 companies in the United States. I'd only work with those 100 companies. I would elevate their servicing level to that of no other servicing organization because we are the people who wrote those benchmarks. We're the one who wrote the industry benchmarking model. I would elevate those companies to those benchmarks, and then I would communicate that to the customer base. The objective of my company is to provide for you, the end user, a list of the 100 best independent dealers in the United States who, if I were you, and I were in the position to buy a copier or a printer or go into managed print services or the next state of our industry, managed services, if I were you, I would point out, this is the person I do business with. And I am an expert in this industry. And I would tell you, this is why I selected that organization, because of their benchmarking against some of the most rigid benchmarks in the United States that I developed with my partners. And I would tell you more about that organization and why I would select them so that you could make a better decision than have to go with one of these mega organizations who are just going to treat you like crap. I have created a list of the best independent dealers in the United States. And every one of these individuals has to allow me to audit their results. I have my own software that I place on their system. I'm an independent third party. And I act as their conscience and as their coach, not as their critic. And I work with them to continuously keep them at those benchmarking levels that they need to earn and achieve every year to hold the title of an Elite 100 company. Tonight I have the great pleasure of being here in Meadville to tell you, the customers of Hagan of Meadville, that one of the companies I have selected in the past 4 months, and a company that I have certified today as being an Elite 100 company, is Hagan Business Machines of Meadville. This is an extraordinary company built with extraordinary people. I had the great pleasure of doing the final training pieces over the past day and a half with their great employees. Their employees are a great group of people. They're a fun group of people. They're a committed group of people. I turned to Jay and Craig, the owners of this company, and said, this is a great company. I know great companies because I've only worked for great companies. This is one hell of a great group of employees that you get to work with. So tonight, I have the express pleasure of making an award to some very special people who I dearly care about, and who from this day forward, whether they like it or not, have a relationship that goes with me. And that relationship is that of a conscience, not as a critic. I am a coach. I am the individual who will help this company remain for you elite in their performance, elite in their achievement, and elite in your eyes, because when you cut through it all, I work for you. So much so do I believe in this company that I say these words when I talk to you as a client. That if you ever have a problem with Hagan Business Machines in Meadville that you can't resolve with Jay or Craig, then you call me, and I'll get it resolved for you. I feel so confident about their capabilities to achieve my benchmarks and to provide you the level of service that you need to have provided to you, that I have put my name on this business. And that's the best thing that I've had in my career, is my reputation. So tonight, this award that will reside in only 100 businesses out of 4,000 in the United States is going to be presented to Jay and Craig for the outstanding job you've done in leading this organization of great employees, providing this great group of customers outstanding service. Jay and Craig, come on up here. It's all yours. It costs a fortune. If it breaks, it's your problem. Thank you very much.
This is an intense process. You know, this is not something you just do lightly. We knew we had to invest a lot of time and energy into this. I think we always were a good service company. We want to be a great service company. And Steve not only is certifying us now, but the idea is over time we've got to raise the bar up higher and higher. Because guess what? Customers' expectations don't go down. We're very excited to achieve this accomplishment. But I also want to promise you we are committed to earning this recertification next year and the year after. We don't plan to lose this. Please join me in congratulating my internal customers, my employees. You know, a lot of time customers don't get to always meet everyone, but they're really the reason we're here today. Jan Dingle? Jan? Where are you at?
I'm here today.
Okay, all right, Jan. Jan's been with us for a long time, and Jan has really been my bedrock. Rich Reist, one of our newer guys, fitting in very well, making it happen. Julie Sutton. Julie started out in Meadville, is now down in the Cranberry sales office. Betsy McClellan. Betsy has gone through everything with us, from customer service and ARs to now dispatching and doing a fine, fine job. David Snedden. David heads up our sales office down in Cranberry, doing a great job, and guess what? In the midst of the worst recession we've had, we are growing. We're not growing because of Jay or Craig. We're growing because of people like David going out there and doing a good job and upholding that reputation. It doesn't do you any good to say you're a good service organization if you don't prove it every day. Chris Kirshner. Chris is the guy, when you run out of toner, he's charged with getting it to you as quickly as he can. And if he can't get it to you, he's going to Craig or me saying, what can we do? Does a great job. Matt Larson. If you've ever had a networking issue, if you've ever had a computer issue, you know how good Matt is. And truly, I don't believe we'd be at this point without somebody like Matt, who really is becoming a very valued go-to guy. Thank you, Matt. Jeannie Straw. Jeannie started off as a dispatcher, has moved on to our graphics and marketing, so all those great things you see us handing out and doing, she's really responsible for. I love working with Jeannie because I give her an idea, she makes it happen, and then quite frankly, half of our role is to educate customers what we do and how we can do it for them, so she helps us do that. Craig Snyder. Craig. You don't always get to see Craig now. Usually you would only see him if you really had an issue. But he is very much responsible for a lot of the positive changes over the years, and especially through this program. We had to change some things to get better. We had to change some things to meet Steve's requirements, and we did it. And I want to give Craig all the credit. Thank you.
Thanks.
You and your team have made this happen. Paul Blattner. Again, these guys, you know, if you think about it, how would you like a job where every time you walked in, somebody has a problem? Everybody. That's what they do. So, believe me, it's a tough job, but they do it great, and they do it most of the time with a smile on their face. They are human. So if they have a bad day, I'm just going to ask you, remember, it's not their fault your machine broke down, but they are there to fix it. Doug Grumlin.
Not here.
Okay. Doug couldn't make it tonight. He had a prior engagement. Chuck. Chuck Wood. I told Chuck I'd make him a star. He's our poster guy now. Chuck is a great guy. He comes in, he does the job very quietly, very reserved, but he gets it done, and he's a good guy. Mike Litzinger.
Not here.
Okay. Could not make it tonight. Gene Calvert.
No.
He's out. Kurt Crawford. Kurt. Kurt's the newest addition to the Hagan team. And Kurt comes to us originally from Meadville by way of Albuquerque. And Kurt has real-world experience with some of those other companies and what they did and what they didn't do. So we know that what Steve's talking about is real. And there's a reason, I think, that when Kurt came in, he sought us out, and I said, oh, I don't know, I don't really have a position open, but how could I not afford to get somebody of Kurt's caliber on our team? So we made it happen. Brent Gadosh is up top running the projector. I'm sorry, buddy. Somebody's got to have that technical know-how, right? Brent is a lot of what I call my right-hand man. He literally makes it happen. If you have got leasing questions or you've got a question with a billing from a leasing company, he handles that a lot. But quite frankly, Brent is one of those unsung heroes that just he'll chip in and do anything we ask him to do. And I got to tell you, I give a lot of credit for this to Brent also. He gets it. Sherry Felicia. If you have a question with invoicing and that, Sherry's duty is to try to explain it to you and make sure if we've made a mistake, we correct it right away. We're not perfect. We're trying to eliminate mistakes for sure. Mistakes cost us money just like they cost you money, but we are trying to get better all the time. And Charlie Yeager. Newest member to the Hagan team. We've got a long ways to train Charlie, but he is picking it up quick. And believe me, I'm sure he likes the environment. People chip in, they want to train Charlie and have him be as good as everyone else, and he will get there. There's no doubt. Again, this is the team. These are the people that every day earn and will continue to earn your trust by bettering our service capabilities now and on an ongoing basis. And thank you.